Good morning and welcome to our 32nd annual Grandparents Breakfast. My name is Gwen Cash and I am the principal.
Welcome, I'm Amanda Deno and I'm the assistant principal.
Mrs. Deno and I are so happy that you are joining us here this morning for our 32nd annual Grandparent Breakfast. Even though this year looks a little differently, usually Mrs. Deno and I are standing up here in a room full of 500 people, and today it's just us. However, it doesn't stop our joy and appreciation that we all have for one another. This is a special time during these unprecedented times, during the holiday season, to really think about what's really important. Our family, our friends, our special someones, bringing the love, the joy, the unity, and coming together as we embark during this pandemic. So today is going to look a little differently. But one of the things that I love most about Queensbury is that we really thrive on traditions. And this has happened for 32 years. And I am so appreciative of the support from the district to continuing on this tradition. Today, you will see the exact same performance that you would have seen if you were here with us in person. So today, you will see 3 performances from our students, as well as our famous cake furthest distance traveled, as well as stories from myself and Mrs. Deno about our childhood and our memories of our grandparents. I would like to thank Hannaford here in Queensbury and Miss Lori Drake for providing our cakes for us for our furthest distance traveled contest. I would like to give an extra special thanks to Mrs. Elizabeth Tetlak, Mrs. Alyssa Verheyen, and Mrs. Patty Cirillo for working with all of our students, who you will hear shortly a wonderful holiday cheer performances. I would also like to thank all of our teachers for opening up their classrooms to your homes later this morning, as you will be able to see your grandchild in their classrooms and hear some great fun stories and traditions later this morning. And finally, I would like to thank the Board of Education, Mr. Kyle Gannon and Ms. Denise Trolstra for their continued support for all of our programs and activities. Before we begin our program, one of the highlights that Mrs. Deno and I always talk about, this is one of our favorite times during the year, one of our favorite days, is that we stand at our doors welcoming in our students with their grandparents. The smiles and pride that they have on their faces as they walk in and look to find a special spot here in the gymnasium, it is something that you will never forget. And the pride and joy that the grandparents have, that you have as you walk into this gymnasium to sit down and get ready for the musical performances, is something that is truly special. So we wanted to share with you some memories that you have with your grandchild and your grandparents. So we have put together this slideshow presentation to bring back memories during this holiday season. The holidays are a great time for us to reflect and think about memories as our own selves growing up with our grandparents. I was blessed enough to have to know 4 of my grandparents and 3 of my great-grandparents. And each year that I've been here at Queensbury, I've always focused on one of my grandparents. So as you can see in this picture here, I have myself with my grandmom, who I shared with you a few years ago, our love for sports and the Philadelphia Phillies and Eagles. And you can also see me with my Mimi and my Pa, my dad's parents. Mimi instilled in me holiday traditions with organizing and special holiday recipes. And my Pa, my dad's dad, I reflected on what a true letter day means and when to embrace it and really appreciate the times that you have with your families. Today I'm going to circle back around to my Papa. He was my mom's dad. Growing up, my parents lived 10 miles from each other. So it was wonderful that when we would go visit during spring break that we would get to stay with both sets of grandparents. I was the youngest of 3, so there was very few times that I was by myself. But one of the highlights that I have growing up is that during spring break, I would go and stay by myself with my mom's parents, my grandma and my papa. And that was a really special time for me. I can still remember walking with my papa up to my mom's elementary school, playing on her playground, saying, wow, this is where my mommy went to school. We would walk to the local Wawa, which is a very famous sub place in Pennsylvania, and we would get subs. We would also play board games. He had a love for board games. We would play Sorry, we would play the dot game, we would play wiffle ball on their front yard. We would sit on the porch. We would watch the Phillies during the early April days of spring training and the beginning of the season and the hope for them to bring home a World Series. But what I remember most about my Papa was his patience, his kindness. He was a man that put his entire family and anyone else above him. And he was so inquisitive. He would tinker in his garage. I can even still smell what his garage would smell like with all his tools. We would tinker in the basements with his train sets. But we would also do puzzles. Pop-Up had a love for puzzles. And as he got older, that inquisitiveness and wanting to fix things turned to puzzles. When he went to an assisted living home, he would make all these puzzles, he would glue them, and then he would frame them. And then he would put his return address label on the back of the puzzles. Raise your hand if you know of someone that still puts return address labels on every single thing they have. And it got to the point where these puzzles were so amazing that the assisted living facility would hang his puzzles in their hallways of the nursing home. The local toy store in Pennsylvania would showcase my grandfather's 3D puzzles, these intricate puzzles that he would do. I was blessed enough to know him for 23 years of my life. He died a few months before my wedding. And when he died, we were all able to take something of his. So I am able to have 2 of his puzzles that he has done hanging in my house. And one of them is a beautiful Christmas one where he even integrated lights that you switch it, there's lights that show through on all these buildings on a downtown winter scene. And I just love talking about Pop-Up and his love for puzzles because some of you may not know this, but I have a daughter, Mallory, and a son, Trent. Mallory's 9 and Trent is 7. And when she was 2 to 3, she fathomed a love for puzzles. Mallory has over 40 puzzles in her closet glued together. She's not old enough to have return address labels, so we do put her name on it, we do put her age, we do have her date. But as she started to have this love for puzzles, I really got emotional because she would look up at me and be like, Mommy, Pop-Up would love me because I love puzzles just like he did. And I'd say, Mal, Pop-Up would love you no matter what, and he's loving you now, but yes, he would truly love you because of your love for puzzles and figuring things out. See, Mallory is named after my grandfather. My grandfather's name was Malvern Andrew Smith, but we used to call him Mal. Hence, Mallory, we oftentimes call her Mal. So even though my children were not old enough really to know their great-grandparents, except for one who just turned 96 a few weeks ago, but they know the value and the importance of making memories with their own grandparents and with their great-grandparents. So boys and girls, That's your challenge for today, is to think about the memories that you have with your grandparents or your great-grandparents, or a tradition that has come down from generations to generations. Because seeing the love that my grandfather, my pop-pop, and I had, the bond that we have, to see that even though he didn't know my daughter Mallory, she still knows the importance of making those memories with not only her parents, but also her grandparents. So I wish you nothing but the best during this holiday season, and I really hope that you enjoy our program today. And thank you for taking the time to be with us this morning. And now I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Patty Cirillo and our band students.
Hi, I'm Johnny Cirillo and I play percussion. Hi, I'm Brody Farragut and I play the alto saxophone. Hi, I'm John Luthringer and I play percussion.
Hi, I'm Eleanor Stevens and I play the trumpet.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Etter and I play the alto saxophone.
Hi, I'm Hazel Wood and I play the alto saxophone.
Thank you, Mrs. Kosh. Now we're going to hear from some of our 5th grade band students, and we're going to be playing Good King Wenceslas. On saxophone, we have Hazel Wood, Brody Farragut, and Lindsay Otter. On trumpet, we have Eleanor Stevens, and on our percussion parts, we have John Luthringer and Johnny Cirillo. We hope you enjoy our selection. Thank you. And now I'm going to hand it over to Mrs. Verheyen.
Thank you, Mrs. Cirillo, and a great job to all of our band students. My name is Alyssa Verheyen, and I am the orchestra director here at WHBI. We are so excited to be here performing for you today. The group of students that you will hear just began their instruments in October, and we are so proud of how far they come. This morning, they will be performing Jazzy Old Saint Nick. We hope you enjoy.
Hi, I'm Juliana Mulder and I play the cello.
Hi, my name is Ella Roberts and I play the cello.
Hi, I'm Cameron Beecraft and I play the cello.
Hi, my name is Lily Cormier and I play the bass.
Hi, my name is Mary Russell and I play the bass. We hope you enjoy Jazzy Old Saint Nick.
Thank you, Mrs. Verheyen. What a great musical performance by both our band and orchestra students. Great job. They worked extremely hard with little time to prepare and rehearse together as a group, but it sounded amazing. Now it's time for our ever famous and popular furthest cake distance contest, and Mrs. Deno is going to announce our winners. Thanks so much for everyone participating in this activity. It's such a fun time to see where everyone is coming from and joining us. So as you can see in our map behind us, we have a lot of people coming from the New York area, Plattsburgh, Lake Placid, Western New York, Massachusetts, Baltimore, Florida, North Carolina, but we have our winners for the furthest traveled. So Blake West in Mrs. Smythe's class, he would have probably won both of these cakes. He has grandparents joining us from Joshua, Texas, and also from Phoenix, Arizona. So Blake will be winning a dessert today. We'll get that to you. And we also have another winner, Jake Coral from Mrs. Sykes-Bowen's class. His grandparents are joining us from Winnipeg, Manitoba in Canada. So thanks for joining us.
Now to conclude our portion of this morning's program, I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Dano so that she can share one of her childhood memories of her grandparents.
Hi, I'm so excited that this is my 12th grandparents breakfast here at Queensbury, my second as an assistant principal and 10 prior as a teacher. As I was looking through pictures for this grandparents breakfast, I was overwhelmed with the amount of photos that I found of me and my grandparents. And as I was looking through, there were trips that we had gone on, there was just times at home together, and what became evident from these pictures is that my grandparents were a solid present figure in my upbringing. So as I was trying to think about a story or a memory, it really was that my grandparents showed up. They showed up to anything and everything. And this took many shapes and forms as I was growing up. When I was a baby, my grandparents would come to give my parents a break. My brother was a young toddler at that time, and as you can see in these pictures, my grandfather loved to hold me. We would often take naps together just to give my parents a break. And as I grew up and I went into my toddler years, my parents, they needed a break again from me and my brother. And this would look like sleepovers at my grandparents' house, where we ate too much junk, we watched too much TV, and we stayed up too late. But that's why we loved our grandparents. And as I got a little bit older and into school, it took the shape of them showing up to everything at school. Chorus concerts, holiday parties that my parents couldn't come to, picking me up when I was sick from school, the unexpected snow day, and my favorite, my brother and I spent most of our summer vacations with my grandparents. That meant going golfing, going to the driving range, endless days of swimming and riding our bikes, and our favorite, going to Saratoga Racetrack with our grandparents. And as I got a little bit older, the time that I spent with my grandparents was less and less, but they still showed up. When I was in high school, they braved the cold to come to field hockey games, to watch ski races at Gore. They came for prom photos, for National Honor Society inductions, and of course, high school graduation. Moving into college, again, that time became less and less, but they still showed up. I went to college in Plattsburgh, and my grandparents had family that lived in Canada, and every time that they traveled through, they stopped. And of course, they did not come empty-handed. My grandmother had bags of food and snacks and clothes, and she had all of these surprises to bring to me. My grandfather, he would slide me money without my grandmother knowing, but they showed up. They made that time. And as I was approaching getting married, my grandparents were in their 80s, and this meant that they would have to get on a plane, travel thousands of miles away, just for a few days to watch their granddaughter get married. But you know what? They showed up. And that's the message that I want to give to everybody today is thank you for showing up. Thanks for being there for your grandchildren. It's the everyday showing up, being there to pick up your grandchild, or if they're sick, or the unexpected snow day, just being there to show up. So thank you once again for showing up for your grandchild. So this now concludes our morning portion of Grandparents Breakfast. So you will go back to an email that was sent to you or our district website, and you will look for your grandchild's teacher, and you will click on that link. Once you click on that link, it's going to bring you into a Google Meet where you'll be able to see your child in class. If you click on the link and there's nobody there yet, just be patient. Someone will let you in, and you'll be able to see your grandchild in class, and you'll also be able to see some musical performances. Thank you, and I hope you guys have a great holiday season.